All right, where are we at? I already told most of you. They always say church. Yes, we are at church. And Bean Station. Tennessee.
Proverbs 7.
That's the answer I was looking for. Proverbs 7. But as always, we will go over 6 in case you missed it last week, or just so you get a recap to blend it in. And Proverbs 6 starts, like most of them, just saying a warning, like, hear me. My son, if thou be surety with thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, but you got in a fight with somebody you didn't know, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, and thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. How many times have you ever been in a fight where there was just no talking at all? You didn't say nothing to this person, they didn't say nothing to you, you just bumped into them or something and started swinging? Never, to me. I've never seen that. I don't think ever. I'm sure it can happen, but usually something led up to it before where somebody, you either said something or they said something, and then it got out of hand. That's what it's talking about here. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Yeah. Meaning just go ahead and get it out of the way, swallow your pride, apologize to them. Right. You're going to keep a friend over somebody you fought with anyway. Most of the time there's one dude smiling while the other two people are fighting. That's the kind of show you put on for people. That's why other people instigate fights. They like to see it, but nobody ever wants to be in them. So you got to pay attention to all that. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Remember, roes are the small goats or small deer from the mountains. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. So ants colonies do have a queen, but she's not sitting around barking out orders to all the ants. She's just there to simply lay all the eggs, so they treat her very well. But ants just know their purpose. And they each have a job, and they'll each actually grow and morph in their bodies to the job in which they were born to do. There's a lot more than people think of. So ants also are very selfless. They will self-sacrifice for the good of the colony, for the good of the hive, without even thinking about it. It's just programmed into them to do that. They'll lock themselves together to make bridges for the other ants to cross to get the food and other things. Some ants, the big swollen ones in the middle, those are called honey ants or honeypot ants. And they just eat a whole lot of food, a whole lot of nectar, and then they travel around so other ants, while they're working and stuff, will come and actually eat the regurgitated nectar. I know it's kind of gross, but they're like the food truck ants. So they don't really have trucks, so they'll just eat it themselves and not really do anything. Then you have your warrior ants. Their job is to protect the hive and to fight off all the other ants or would-be invaders. They're slightly bigger in the head than the other ants, but they're all born the same is what's crazy. And then in the middle you have the queen who's being taken care of by the other ants. And this one right here is another good picture. So it just looks like a big blob on water, but what it is if the colony gets flooded or something happens, like they're all out and it starts raining, they'll actually come together and make little air bubbles, and the little hairs on them will keep those bubbles, and they'll float. So all the ants on the bottom layer will die, and they know they're going to die, but they do it so the colony lives on. So, very selfless. I don't know many humans that would get together and sacrifice themselves and make sure a lot of other humans keep going on. There are some, I've met a few, but consider the ant. Just works all day, knows his job, and goes and does it. Doesn't even think about it. So as followers of Jesus, don't be sleepy, don't be lazy, a little sleep. Consider the ant. Go do what you're supposed to do. Without question, God will take care of you. And if you do that, you can build. These are ant colonies that are under earth. This was aluminum cast ant colony. Goes all the way down. And they're not silly. They're not like just your typical insect that go around, keep running into the same light over and over like moths or gnats and stuff. All these deep-rooted colonies with the little nodes here that are sticking out, that's for waste, and that's to keep it away from the colony. And it also, in a sense, fertilizes the soil when you do that, so more things can grow around them, keep them safe and everything. They actually have fermentation chambers where they store food for the winter, and as it ferments so it doesn't go bad over winter. These are ants. These are bugs we're talking about. And they can get way bigger than that, as you can see on the right, the ant colonies and everything. So these guys know what they're doing. They're just so much smaller than us. A lot of us don't really care. But if we did consider the ant, we're like the big size of ants with our cities, except for theirs doesn't kill and destroy the earth like ours do. So, but how long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travelleth, and thy want as an armed man. So sleeping, being lazy and all that, it does say you will be poor if you don't go out and do that. Your poverty is going to hit you. It's more so just saying if you're very lazy, you're not really doing anything. You're not contributing. All of these ants contribute equally or to the best of their abilities. If you're lazy, you sleep all the time, even in, not just saying a work sense, going to work to get money and provide for your family. In a godly sense, like, well, I would go visit these people, but my TV show is going to come on, and I got to get up early, and I'm going to stay up late and do all this stuff. You're kind of being a sluggard. But there's not also just a sleepy sluggard in today's time. They've invented a new form to keep people from doing all this. The busy sluggard. You just sit around and listen to music, watch TV, that you don't do your job, you don't do anything beneficial to you. So we have a lot of health problems. So we have a lot of attention problems and stuff like that. So they found a new one. So just keep in mind when you're doing that, like, can I be doing something positive? And if you want to do something, like you're having a hard time with this, do something productive, and then do a little watching TV, and then you're like, okay, my time's up, go do something else productive, like a chore, and then come back and do that. It's called productive procrastination, I call it. So you can just kind of chill out, get things done while also seeming tricking yourself like you're not. But also this was Old Testament, so remember the New Testament hadn't happened yet when all this was written. Remember the story of Martha and Mary.
Yeah.
So Martha and Mary. One was going around working, doing that, attending to Jesus. The other wasn't doing anything. She was sitting there listening to Jesus, paying attention to him. One of the sisters got mad and said, Jesus, tell her to help me. She's being lazy. But Jesus said, well, pay attention because she is doing the important part. Yeah. She hasn't left me since I've been here. So Jesus kind of came and changed the game a little bit. So it's not about like keeping the church clean and doing all that as much as you have a role here in the church to do for everybody else. Jesus is always going to be the important part. There is a time to stop, listen, be still, and know that he is God.
Amen.
So a naughty person, this is that picture I was trying to find last week. And I was like, remember the wolf that was always in the Looney Tunes cartoons? A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart, he deviseth mischief continually, and he soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly, suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Anybody ever had, not even necessarily a friend, but somebody just rip you off? Just completely like lie to you, and you trust them, and then you give them something or do what they say, and then it ends up badly. Will you ever do what that person says again? Will you ever trust that person again? You can forgive them. You should forgive them. But probably don't fall into the same trap twice. This is what it's saying. You're going to be broken without remedy. If you go around doing this to a lot of people, no one's going to trust you. Your reputation is going to be torn, tainted, and you're going to be kind of left without nothing. So don't be a naughty person or a wicked man. And these 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. All these things God hates. So, to break them down one by one, and I'll try to be as fair as possible. A proud look. Who has those looks? I had to share it equally across the board. But we all know a proud look. And I'm not saying like, you score a goal in a game, you're like, yes. I don't necessarily think that's the proud look God's talking about. It's more like looking down at everybody else like you are better than them. So, politics is a good place to find proud looks because everybody's wanting to look down on them. A lying tongue, obviously. We've looked at a lot of that. Satan, the father of lies, who came down, lied to Eve, and that got us in this mess that we're in the first place. It all goes back to them from the beginning. But remember, we did look at a few lies that actually helped Jericho and Elisha lied that one time. So, but a lying tongue, these are just lying for no purpose, for no greater reason, to not serve the good. Hands that shed innocent blood. Think about going to med school, studying your whole life, being a really smart person, only to use that skill and talent you've learned to kill children while they're still in another person. That has to be, you have to be some kind of warped. A little bit, right? Just a little bit different. And you say shed innocent blood, think about our great-grandparents reading this. They're like, yeah, you shouldn't just go kill somebody. Now we're looking at like, yeah, you shouldn't kill babies. They'd be like, what are you talking about, kill babies? Obviously, like, no. We're doing that like crazy now. Like 500,000 a day is going down. They'd be like, what? Why aren't you guys shooting all these people? I don't know, grandparents. I have no idea why we let this go on. Heart that devises wicked imaginations. Sit around thinking about all the bad stuff you can do and how fun it would be. And you check yourself. You gotta stop. Feet that be swift in running to mischief. People always like a fight, like we just talked about earlier. So if you can poke the fire a little bit and get it going and run to the fight to see it. If you're always wanting to see something troublesome, somebody says, hey, let's go to a bar, and you don't even have to think about it. You're there already. Watch your feet. False witness that speaketh lies. Now, what is the difference between this and a lying tongue? A false witness that speaketh lies.
Lying about you.
Yeah, they could lie about that. So, if I say that this is a red remote, obviously it's not a red remote, you guys are like, no, it's black, what are you talking about? But if I say, I saw Gary in a band full of girls last night running around drinking, you'd all be like, Gary! And then you might look down on Gary and be like, what are you talking about? No, it wasn't. I was at home. That's a false witness. I did not see Gary doing that. And that can cause a lot more problems than just a lying tongue. So, he that soweth discord among brethren, again, poking the fire, instigating fights, trying to split people up, trying to do different things. In school, usually in the younger years, we all kind of do that a little bit. You get your cliques, you kind of, poke around, get people upset at this person if they do you mad and all that. But that's not good, and you shouldn't do that, because that is discord. Discord means disagreements that could come to violence in a broad sense. Do not sow discord among the brethren. God hates that. Literally,
right.
Just said it right there. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Whew. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Man, I've been brought to a lot of things before, but a piece of bread, the Bible compares these people to a piece of bread. That's kind of a low position to be in. Like, you're nothing but a piece of bread. I wouldn't even know how to respond to that. Somebody called me a piece of bread. I'd be like, okay. Sounds bad. I'm kind of mad that you said that. This is what I'm saying. You're brought to a piece of bread. You almost have no value other than to just be eaten and swallowed up. That's all it is. And they're going to hunt for that. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever touches her shall not be innocent. Again, it's talking about adultery and cheating. So, men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. So, Italy just made it a law, maybe a couple years ago, recently, that if someone gets caught stealing for food, it's not a huge punishment. They're not going to really get them in a lot of trouble. It's still a crime. They might do community service and all that. This one's saying you can have all this guy's substance, but if he's stealing because he's hungry, he usually doesn't have a lot of substance. So this one's more talking about if you do get caught stealing for food, maybe work for it, earn your keep a little bit and all that. But don't despise a thief. If you're hungry, it's a little bit different than you see somebody's money and you want it so you can go buy stuff. And in one of the, we'll call it lower Asian, you got like your China and upper Asian, the lower ones like Thailand, Vietnam and all that. I forget which one, but in one of those countries, someone got caught stealing rice for his family because he was hungry, and they killed him. Just the person that sold him killed him. And that was a big deal. A lot of people did not like that. They're like, you can't kill for stealing food. And he's like, but he's a thief. And they're like, we don't know. There's a thin line here. And then he got there's a pretty big deal about that. So if they're hungry, it's completely different than them just stealing out of their want. They're stealing out of their necessity to try to survive. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. Very rarely does it say you destroy yourself, but this is always the one sin it comes back to, adultery and fornication, that says you do it to yourself. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. Just saying, it's very hard to calm down someone who has been cheated on. So if you go out and sleep with someone's wife and then you offer him $1 million, he's probably still going to be mad at you. I don't think that quite cuts it. This is what it's saying. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content. And sometimes it's ended really badly for other people. But I wish it was over, guys, but we're kind of just getting started. I'm going to try to go a little faster with this one, because we're sticking on that woman. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. I really think those pictures are cool. Like if I don't know, I was found them yesterday, like the apple of the eye, but what could you make Jesus in the apple of your eye? I found these. So I don't have any tattoos, but if I did, it'd probably be something cool like this. Just kidding, don't get tattoos. But that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. For at the window of my house I looked through the casement, and the casement is just what cases in the window. I'm peering through it. And beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. Some guy just floating in the wind and going with it. Passing through the streets near her corner, and he went the way to her house. This guy lives pretty close to a bad spot, I guess. He's looking at it through the window, and he sees a guy going down a street he should not go down. In Korea, there were plenty of streets that we were not allowed to go down as, American military, because they didn't want to deal with it. They're like, if you get caught here, you're done. You're kicked out. You're out of here. Just because they knew what happened on that street, and you couldn't even walk down it and promise you wouldn't do anything. So this is one of those streets, we'll say. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the tire of a harlot and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. Corner girls. A lot of you are too young to have been experienced to this. Thankfully, don't ever be experienced to this. It'll get super weird, super fast. I promise I wouldn't get up here and say I speak from experience on this, but I've been around it. Not part of it, but I've seen it a lot in just traveling the world and all of that. It's a lot more open in other countries than it is in America. I mean, there's some places in America you can drive by and see it happening all around you. But man, you go to those other countries, they don't care. They will come at you trying to pull you in places. Yeah. So, got to be careful about all this. And it's really hard to find a picture, so I just put an old school one. Biblical times. There we go. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face means a very confident, very, like, I know what I'm doing, and I know you're not going to be able to stop it type of face. Said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day have I paid my vows. These aren't talking about vows of purity or wedding vows. These are vows in the temple, and when you go to the temple, usually, if you were a woman, you were married, and your husband was away and everything, that's when you got your food and everything. You went out and you got your shopping done, we'll say. And therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. That verse. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. And she probably said that to every other guy she talked to that night, so don't feel special. It's a little trick they use. So, fortunately, I've been immune to that, and for me telling you now, you should be completely immune to that, guys. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, and carved works with fine linen of Egypt. I perfume my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. She's enticing him. She's saying, come in. I got a place. Bed is ready. Smells good. Got food. All the vows are paid. Let's do this. That poor dude, what does he have to gain there? About 15 minutes of kind of fun and the rest of his life looking over his shoulder and worrying about different things. So she's just enticing him, and she set it up. She's not like, you have a place, you have to do this, you have to do that. She's offering him gifts. She said, therefore, I have peace offerings with me. So she brought them for him this time, just to get him in there. For the good man is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. The good man is not home. So somebody lived there, but now he's not there. Meaning she was probably married, and she probably does that every time he goes out of town to get money or just to satisfy herself. She might not even want a whole lot of money. She just wants, I don't know what drives girls to do that. But like I said, that's y'all's superpower. I don't know why you use it like that, why you would destroy it and use it like that. But with her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. This is the tale as old as time. This is the first one that ever happened to guys. That's why I said the superpower when we went over it. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stalks. You know what stalks are, younger kids? You ever seen like the funny medieval things where the dudes are like laid in with their arms in their head and they close it over them so they can't move their arms and heads? Those are called stalks. And this one says, as a fool to the correction of the stalks. If you got sent stalks, the Bible's saying you're kind of silly if you just walk up to them like, all right, put me in them. I wouldn't. I'd be like, all right, next town, we're out of here. But you just turn yourself in. You go as an ox to the slaughter, till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasteneth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. So the ox don't really know that they're about to die when they're going to it. Well, neither did this guy. He thought it was a pretty good idea. Thought the bed smelled good. It's going to get some grapes or food to eat and all that. And nope. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to go her ways. Go not astray in her paths. Don't even go down the street. She might can withstand the temptation face to face, but you won't have to if you don't go face to face. So if you can avoid it altogether, that's for the best. For she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men, not just weak, dumb men, strong men have been slain by her. Let's consider Solomon for a minute. Very chosen of God, very understanding and wise. Very biblically blessed by God to know these things. What happened to him when he got all of his wives and concubines? They said, oh, I really want to worship Baal and it will make me so happy. And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever, build a temple for Baal. Oh, but I'm from Egypt and we want to worship Ra. Can we build a temple for Ra and the Egyptian gods? Solomon said, yeah, go ahead, whatever. And God's like, whoa, what are you doing? That is not what I told you to do, and I even warned you not to do that. And so was the fall of Solomon. Many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Going down to the chambers of death. Her house is the way to hell. So don't be like this woman, because there is no point to this woman. I promise you, that will leave you emptiness. And even in the woman, apparently you have emptiness, or you wouldn't keep trying to do this lifestyle and keep trying to do these things. Some people are kidnapped and human trafficked into it. It's a very sad situation. There's not enough being done about it, I don't think. But until you see it, you don't really get the grossness of it until you actually see it face to face. But so some of them, I mean, if you want to say, if you want to deny it, it is what it is. It's demonic. It's got a kind of a possession sense to it after a while. Like they get them in, they weak them down with drugs and all that, and now it's them that want to do it when they get older. So it kind of sticks. But her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. So if you're a guy, don't partake in that. demonicness. Sometimes they couldn't help it. It's not really their fault. But if you're a guy, it exists for a reason because guys go to it.
Yes.
There, we'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take that out of the equation, there's no more business
Right.
for it.
That's
Then
right.
it's gone. So
Right.
ultimately, that is what it is. And that is Proverbs 7. Thank you.
Yay.
We'll turn it off.